Hello Primary 5 superheroes, welcome back in a new episode of our science curriculum of the 5th primary stage. Today we're going to be talking about lesson 4, parts of plant, but with an extra piece of information about each part. Let's get started. In today's episode we have many challenges. The first challenge that I have for you is label diagram. In this diagram, we have some questions will appear at the top of the screen there. You're gonna find the answer of this question there. One of these answers might be the probable and the correct answer for this question. So let's read them and answer. The first one, which part of the plant takes up the water and nutrients from the soil? Again, which part of the plant takes up the water and nutrients from the soil? There is a part here takes up the water and the nutrients from the soil. Take it from the soil, give it to the plant. So which part do you think? If your answer is roots, correct. The next question, which part of the plant carries water to different parts of plant to distribute it all over the plant parts? I guess it's not roots. So you might be thinking about the elevators to distribute it all over the plant parts. And if your answer was the stem as an elevator, let's check it out.
Easy.
Perfect. The next question is, which part of the plant that attract insects? Which part of the plant is responsible for attracting insects? A part of the plant they are responsible for attracting the insects to the plant to make the reproduction later on. So which part of them do you think? I guess it has to be colorful part. So if your answer was the flower, that's correct answer. The last question here, which part of the plant takes the light from the sun to make food? So a part of the plant present in front of you there is responsible for capturing the sunlight to make its own food. A part of the plant that uses the light of the sun to create the food for plant. And I guess you catch it right. It's this one, leaves. Perfect. Let's move to the next challenge. The next challenge that I have for you is really interesting. This is one of my favorite games. Let's check it out. It's a magic library. You have to direct the witch here, our little witch, to the correct answer of these questions by moving up and down like that. So let's read the question first, then try to find the correct answer. What do you see there? What is the question? Which part of the plant attract insects? So we are looking for the flower. So if your answer was flower, you passed this level successfully. The next question here, which part of the plant uses the sunlight to make the food? I guess you might be looking for leaves. So let's go to leaves, like this. Perfect. The next question, which part of the plant takes up water and nutrients from the soil? We must be looking for roots. But where is it? Where are roots? Here we go. We finished our mission successfully. Give yourself a big hand. And now this is a summary about the previous two challenges. The first one here gonna be roots. In the previous videos we studied the main function of roots. The roots, as we studied in the previous two videos, is responsible for getting the water from the soil to the plant. Here in this lesson we're gonna be studying extra piece of information about roots, which is gonna be this one. The roots are responsible for fixing the plant into the soil. That makes the plant stable, that fixes the plant into the soil and resists what happens around from the surrounding environment. Let's discover some examples about that. In the previous year, you have studied two main examples about plants have roots. One of them lives in the salt water, which is the mangrove tree. Look at the roots. They are strong to fix the plant into the soil, to fix the mangrove tree into the soil and resist waves. That protects the mangrove from breaking down. And also the water lily. You might be remembering that they have weak roots, but look at them. Every plant uses the roots to fix itself into the soil. So mainly the roots have two main functions. Number one, it fixes the plant into the soil. Number two, it gets the water from the soil into the plant. Let's move to the next part. The next part here is gonna be the stem. We studied in the previous videos that the stem is responsible for elevating the water from roots to distribute it all over the plant parts. But in this episode, we're gonna be studying extra piece of information about the stem, which is the stem types. The plants are not the same. And from these differences, the differences in the stem. The stem of some plants, like this one, is a wooden stem. You might be wondering, what is the wooden stem? So let's go watch it. That's one of the examples about the wooden stem, the stem of the kapok tree that we have studied before. So how does the development happen to this stem from a seed into a complete plant? Let's watch this. Some plants are growing like that. They must be supported by a wooden stem because they have very large branches and they have extra amount of leaves to carry. Now it's time for the next one, which is gonna be the upright stem. It's generally an erect stem and that found in most of flowers. Let's watch an example. This is one of the examples about the upright stem. The flower grows up at the top of this stem and the stem looks upright, looks erect like this. The third part here going to be about the tubers. This is a kind of stems that are extending underground. So the tuber is a stem, extends underground. The example here like the potato. Have you ever seen that before? If you didn't see that before, let's watch it together. In front of you here, a stem of a potato. So that's the potato and we have taken a part of the stem. Now it's covered by the soil underground. Let's watch the complete development of this plant when it grows and where is the stem going to be later on. Look here, that's the development of the plant. The leaves start growing from the stem and the stem is still underground. This is why it's known as tuber. The tuber, it's the stem like the potato that extends underground under the soil. Then a complete development happened to the plant like what you see there. And at the end of the video, we're gonna watch the final result. And that's the final result. We can find the stem underground like that. These are the tubers of the potato. The fourth one here going to be the climber stem. I know it's gonna be an amazing tutorial to watch what happens in the climber stem development because it's gonna be an amazing experience to visit. The climber stem, it's a kind of stems that's a little long but flexible in the same time. The problem here, it's a little weak. So long and flexible means a weak stem cannot carry the rest parts of plants. And it's found mainly in grapes. So let's watch what's gonna happen. And now let's watch what happens here. Here is the climber stem. Look, it's weak, a little long, flexible. So it looks for a support to rotate itself around. Look there. So this is the climber stem. Look there. Long, flexible. So it's a little weak. It looks for a support, as you see, to turn around. So this support gives the plant the main function of the strong stem. So this is why when we plant grapes, we have to plant around the grapes plants some supports. So the stem of the grape can grow up like this. Seems like they are dancing. But when they grow up and they found the support, they turn around it. Look, these are the stems of the grapes. They turn themselves around the support and then they keep growing. And they have to do that because the upper part of the plant has to be exposed to the sunlight. So this is why the stems are always looking for a support to give the plant suitable and strong stem instead of the weak stem. This is going to be a replacement instead of the stem. Look how amazing they are. They give the plant the same function but using a support, helper. So this kind of stem is really amazing. Finally, the last part, which is going to be the runner stem. The runner stem is a great example here in our curriculum about some stems are growing horizontally. Horizontally means along the soil. We're gonna watch this in the strawberry. So let's go. In front of you right now, a complete plant of the strawberry. I need you to take a look at the place where the stem is supposed to be, between the roots and leaves. You're gonna find the stem goes horizontally like this over the soil. This is why it's known as runners. It seems like they are running stems along the soil or over ground. Let's watch how does this happen. In front of you right now, a strawberry fruit. We're gonna pick up one of the seeds of the strawberry. Then this seed going to be planted in the soil. Look there what happens. And here are the stems. They are moving horizontally over the soil. Finally, let's summarize the 5 types of stems we have covered. Number 1, the wooden stem, and it's found in most of trees around. Number 2, the upright stem, and it's found mostly in flowers. The tubers, the great example that we have here is the potato. The upcoming one going to be the climber stem, which is found in grapes, that looks for a support to keep growing. And the final one was the runner stem, which is found in the strawberry. Let's move to the next step. The final part of our today's topic gonna be the leaves. We studied previously leaves are responsible for the photosynthesis process, or to be specific, they carry chloroplasts that they have inside chlorophyll, which is the green pigment that gives leaves its green color, which captures the sunlight with the carbon dioxide and the water to create and cooks the food for the plant. The main part of the plant that is responsible for photosynthesis is going to be leaves, because they carry chloroplasts, and the chloroplasts carry chlorophyll, the green pigment that is responsible for the photosynthesis process. But the leaves are not the same. We have great differences between the plant leaves. We have needle leaves, like the pine tree leaves. But not all plants have needle leaves. Some plants have small leaves, some plants have flat and wide leaves, and they are so large like the banana leaves. And now we have to collect all pieces of information that we have studied in this lesson in a summary together. First of all, we studied that the plant is made up of 3 main parts: roots, stem, and leaves. The main function of roots is getting the water and nutrients from the soil to give it to the plant. The function of the stem here, elevating the water, and we studied previously, the stem has smaller tubes inside known as xylem. So the xylem, or the tubes inside the stem, responsible for taking the water upward from roots upward to the other plant parts. But we have a new piece of information here. Another tube is found in the stem, which is really important. It's going to be phloem. The phloem is another tube found inside the stem, and it's responsible for delivering the food that is created by the plant leaves downward to distribute the food all over the plant parts. So first of all, the leaves that carry chloroplast and chlorophyll captures the sunlight, takes the carbon dioxide through the stomata, then they collect them together. These are the ingredients of the food. Then all plant leaves create the food together. Now the leaves are able to cook the food of the plant. But when they make the food of the plant, how to distribute it? Does the food stay in leaves? Actually no. There are other parts need the food to perform their functions, to stay alive. These are parts of living organism's body. So to distribute the food from leaves all over the plant parts, it must be another tube known as phloem. The final part going to be the conclusion. The conclusion here is divided into 2 main sections. We have light energy is coming from the sun, and we have chemical energy, which is the glucose, the food that is produced by the plant. The plant, it's the only living organism able to change or to convert the light energy into chemical energy stored in the glucose. And now with the final assessment, don't worry about all game links, all activities. You're gonna find them in the comments below. Just don't forget to make like, subscribe if you didn't make yet, and let's solve our questions together. The part of the plant that is responsible for elevating the water, it works like an elevator, or it acts like an elevator, carrying the water and nutrients for all plant parts. Which one of them do you think? Is it going to be the stem, flower, roots, or leaves? You might be thinking about stem. Perfect. Process by which the plant makes its own food. You might be thinking about the photosynthesis process. You can use them to increase your score. So the photosynthesis process is the correct answer for this activity. That's really important question. What type of a stem is it? Which kind of a stem is that? You mean wooden stem? If it's the wooden stem, you're gonna pick up woody. Perfect.